So hi guys, we'll do the anesthesia questions quickly. They were all from the main notes that we have done, or everything from the main video except in the second shift. There was one question which I've put right in the end, and that is going to be discussed later. So let's discuss the session one questions first. The picture was given of EMLA cream, and they had asked which is true regarding EMLA. So here, the first option, it is not equal mixture of local anesthetic. It is eutectic mixture. Second one was it contains lignocaine and ropivacaine. So this was also false because it contains lignocaine and prilocaine. Third one, methemoglobinemia is a complication of this cream. That's absolutely correct because prilocaine and benzocaine are the two local anesthetics that can cause methemoglobinemia. As we discussed, this cream contains ligno and prilo. So this is possibility, and 1 gram of 5% cream contains lignocaine 50 mg. So this was also false because 1 gram of 5% cream contains 25 mg of lignocaine and it contains 25 mg of prilocaine. Okay, so that was the correct answer, methemoglobinemia. Second one, 2-year-old child is undergoing CPR. He is pulseless and shows the below ECG. What is the next step? So this ECG, as you guys can see, this is nothing but VTAC. And as they have written, it is pulseless. So it is pulseless VTAC, which is a cardiac arrest rhythm. Now, in children, whenever we give shock, you have to, is this a shockable or non-shockable rhythm? We know that pulseless VTAC is a shockable rhythm. So you have to give shock as soon as you get the defibrillator. So first thing will be to give shock. And in children, we calculate shock as 2 to 4 joules per kg. So first give the shock, then continue CPR. Don't check the pulse. I have taught you all this. Don't check the pulse, continue CPR. So if we go over here, option B, give shock with 2 joules per kg and continue CPR for 2 minutes is absolutely right. Synchronized cardioversion is not given because this is a defibrillation rhythm. This is a cardiac arrest rhythm. All right, identify this instrument. Again, we have covered this. This is nothing but a nasopharyngeal airway. We know how a oropharyngeal Giddels airway looks like. So this one over here that you see is oropharyngeal airway. This, what you see is the ova sapien airway, which is used whenever we do fiber optic intubation. And this is an uncuffed endotracheal tube. So what we have seen is come in the exam as nasopharyngeal airway. Very simple from INI-CET recently, which is the drug used for immediate reversal. Whenever they use the word immediate reversal of two drugs, vecuronium and rocuronium, immediate reversal, the answer is Sugammadex, always Sugammadex. Okay. Next, a COPD patient on mechanical ventilation suddenly develops hypoxia. He has, guys, I'm discussing the first shift questions. Adenosine was in the second shift. A COPD patient on mechanical ventilation suddenly develops hypoxia. He has absent breath sounds on the left side of the chest and increased intrathoracic pressure. What is the diagnosis? Okay, so this is a COPD patient. When you put him on the ventilator, in COPD, because of the underlying pathology, you are prone to develop bullae or blebs. And whenever we put them on positive pressure ventilation, these bullae or blebs can just rupture and end up causing a pneumothorax. Even if you didn't know this part of the information, the second clinical part of the information, there is absent breath sounds, increased intrathoracic pressure when patient is on ventilator, gives a very clear-cut answer that it is pneumothorax. Acute exacerbation of COPD is not possible because you've already intubated the patient. So now he's not going to have any acute exacerbation while he's on the ventilator. All right. This one, I didn't really get the options correctly, but it was said that in a patient placed in the prone position, which of the following about positive end expiratory pressure is true? So these were the two options that I got. Now, ideally, the primary work of positive end expiratory pressure is to keep the alveoli open even during expiration. Okay. So when you keep the alveoli open even during expiration, it prevents the collapse or the atelectasis of the lung. So this was the correct option according to me. All right. Now, it does help in increasing the carbon dioxide excretion, but that is the secondary benefit of it. The primary work of PEEP is to prevent the atelectasis of the lung. So we will go for option A. All right. So that was all about session 1. In session 2, let's have a look at the questions. So this one was clear cut. They had given symptoms that a patient is having hyperthermia, hypercarbia, muscle rigidity. They had given all symptoms of malignant hyperthermia and asked what is the causative or the triggering agent. So we know malignant hyperthermia is caused by succinylcholine or inhalational anesthetic agents. In this, the clear-cut answer, inhalational anesthetic, was halothane. Then they had given this position. I'm not very sure if these options are correct. You can correct me in the chat box. So they had given this position, which we all know is called as sniffing the morning air or sniffing dog position, which is given for intubation. Okay, so this is the position where you give neck extension and you give flexion at the atlanto-occipital joint for intubation. Okay, you will not use it for bougie insertion. You will not use it for neurosurgery. You will just use, and it is not neck position for intubation, because neck position is only half the story. You are also giving positioning of the head. It is, you are positioning the neck as well as the head, and then you get this position in which all the three axes are aligned together and you use it for intubation. All right, so it is option A. Then this direct repeat from last year's NEET, you have a patient who is in the recovery position. Recovery position is used in unconscious patients. You want to shift them from the wherever they are, OT or after CPR. So you are shifting them to the recovery room in this position. And the options were also exactly the same of the PYQ last year, that in this position, patient is unconscious or semi-conscious, but his pulse and breathing both are present. Okay, so he has a pulse and he is breathing. All right, then we had a picture of a capnograph. Now, very basics, and that's why I said if you've done the main videos, you will know, because in monitoring in anesthesia, we have started from this. What are the different phases of the capnograph? So they had asked, what does phase 3 represent in the capnograph? Okay, so phase 3 represents the alveolar plateau. Phase 3 represents the alveolar plateau. And next one, very easy, identify the image. So you can see that there is a tourniquet attached over here, and it is actually a double cuff tourniquet. From here, someone is giving the local anesthetic. And this is nothing but IV regional anesthesia, or it is also called as Bayer's block. Other options, radial nerve, median nerve block, wrist block, that's not right. You're giving the local anesthetic IV so that it just anesthetizes this part of the hand, and this is called as IV regional anesthesia or Bayer's block. All right. And this was something which I have not covered. And this is something which I think most of the people of the second shift hated. So this question was, what is the relieving pressure of the pop-off valve in this device? This is nothing but a neonatal umbu. It is a neonate umbu. And in this, they had asked what is the pressure at which this pops off. Okay. And they had also given all options in both mmHg and centimeter of water. So I empathize with everyone who got this question. It's not an easy question. If you want to know the exact relieving pressure, it is 45 centimeter of water exactly. But the closest option that comes over here with this umbu is nothing but 30 to 40 centimeter of water. Okay, 30 to 40 centimeter of water. So whatever the options I got and whatever recall I got on the basis of this, this was the recall for me from anesthesia. And I hope that you guys go and chill out a little bit now, because at the end of the day, the exam is over. Whatever is done is done. We'll look at it when we wake up tomorrow morning, but today is the day to go and sleep. All right. So thank you so much. And I shall make sure that we have a proper detailed video on the app soon.